past, finding a senior living community used to be based on quantitative data. That was measuring the norm of where people wanted to go, what was the most popular, and just kind of really following the footsteps of your competitor. However, nowadays, what's really important to consumers is qualitative data, where we're really looking at surveys, we're looking at Google reviews, kind of all of those things that tells us about a senior living community and really paints a picture for us on what's really happening inside each of these communities. So that is where things are measured nowadays. So in addition to looking at quantitative data and qualitative data and trying to merge the two to make the best optimal decision for your loved one, that is what I'm here to help you with. So keep watching, more video footage coming up. Hi everyone, this is Kika, your lifestyle blogger, and I am a sales manager right now, but I've worked as a sales director in senior living for over 20 plus years. So what I'm bringing to you with this blog is information about senior living and just giving you some tips so that you can make informed decisions when you are out searching for senior living for yourself or for a loved one. So I hope you enjoy this video. Keep watching, more video footage coming up. Hi, Kika, your lifestyle blogger, and I wanted to do my first senior living video. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. So I know I have not launched it or had a video as of yet. And the reason for that is currently I work in the healthcare industry, home health to be exact. And what I do is I'm a sales manager that manages a group of sales professionals, which are account executives. However, we do partner with senior living communities, so I want to be very careful as I am talking about senior living communities, because in no way is this any type of blog or vlog, I should say, to put down any location or talk bad about any location. Being a person who has taken care of my uncles for over 16 years, I had my bouts with visiting and touring various senior living communities. And I know, at least for me, it was helpful being able to talk to someone that had that expertise and that experience. And so as you are out searching for senior living communities for your loved ones, I want to be able to equip you and provide you with that piece of information, because there's all types of different senior living communities that are out there. And so I want to explain to you what that actually means to you. And that way that helps you make informed decisions when you go out and do your search. So real briefly, I'll just touch on just a couple things. There are senior living communities that accept what we call EW. And a lot of you are wondering, what is EW? And maybe in your state, it's something a little different. But what it's called in Minnesota is elderly waiver. And that is up under the Medicaid umbrella. And so you have to have a certain amount of money spent down in order to qualify for EW, elderly waiver. And then you are able to move into the senior living communities that accept them. Now, there is a caveat. Some senior living communities want you to pay 2 years privately. So 24 months, you have to be private pay and pay with your own assets. And that includes the housing and any care that's included. So the reason why I wanted to do this video, because it's important that you are proactive in your care instead of reactive in your care. When you're proactive, you can get in, pay those 24 months at a reasonable rate. But when you're reactive, there's a lot involved, because now you're looking at not only a living package, but now you're looking at a care package combined with that living package. And that may exalt your funds before you get to the 24 months. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about a senior living community that I visited. And then as time goes on, I will be able to present to you additional senior living communities that are out there that are wonderful that you can look at. But what we're going to talk about is the differences in senior living communities. So that way you know what you're going for right through the door before you go and take that tour. So we just covered EW. The other piece is private pay. What does that mean? Some of these senior living communities that are private pay do not offer EW. Okay, so they're not taking anyone that has Medicaid or anything like that. Now, don't get that confused with Medicare. Medicaid and Medicare are two different things, okay? Medicaid is more of a county funded portion for people that don't have enough income or money, because at that age you probably don't have any income. You're retired, right? So you don't have any money, so you're dependent on the financial system to pay your way through some things. So that's EW Medicaid. Medicare is a whole different subject that we'll talk about a little later on, and we'll talk about the advantages of being on Medicare and what that can do for you when you are moving into a senior living community, and how you can maximize your services by using a combination of Medicare and your personal funds. But what I want to talk about now is private pay. So a lot of communities are strictly private pay, meaning you are using your own hard-earned funds that you have to pay for services, rather it be housing, packages of services because you need some medical care, or what have you. You're going to pay for those funds privately, and you're going to pay that to the place that you are looking to move into, and then they are going to be able to, in exchange, give you the care that you need and that you're looking for. So, EW and private pay. So we're going to talk about that, and then later on down the line in another video, because this can get really long, you guys, we're going to talk about CCRC and what that means, because there's all types of things that people are doing now where they are actually buying into care early on in life, and then they're also using what we call there's insurance funds that you can use so that you can pay for care as well. And so there's a lot of different things, and I'm going to take you through the ins and out of those things. I have been in sales for only over 20 plus years, and now let me back up. When I say sales, senior living sales for over 20 plus years. Now in my younger heyday, I was in sales also, and I sold product like magazines and just different things like that. So of course, being a vlogger and blogger is something that I would probably end up doing in my lifetime. So in a combination with those things, I do consider myself an expert. I'll just be honest. And I want to be able to help you make those informed decisions before you go out and search. Because if you go out and search, there's so many options to choose from, you will definitely get overwhelmed. So I want to help minimize that for you and bring you this information. So keep watching. More video footage coming up. All right, guys. First and foremost, when you are searching for a senior living community for yourself or for your loved one, the thing that you're going to want to do first and foremost is think about the location, okay? And the reason why I say that is because there's all types of reasons why people are moving to senior living. A lot of the biggest reasons that I hear is to be closer to family. So think about the family that you want to be close to, or that you want your loved ones close to, and look for senior livings in that particular area. Now, it's just like when you buy a house and you're searching for the right area. You could be there for a very long time. You could be there all the way to the end. And so you want to make sure that you are very informed about the activities and the things that you like to do, and that you're picking a place that's going to afford you to do those things. And when I say that, I say this. A lot of senior living communities do have buses, outings, different things like that. So in conjunction with looking for the right location, you're going to want to get in touch with that community's activity director and ask for a copy of their activity calendar for a couple months. And just look through that activity calendar and just ensure that those activities that's happening and going on are truly things that you would like to be involved in. even when they go out and about in the community for different activities. Sometimes they go bowling, sometimes they go shopping mall, sometimes they go to the casino, just different things like that. You're going to want to know those activities and make sure that it lines up with your lifestyle and the things that you enjoy doing. So that's number one. Sorry for I kicked the camera a little bit. Anyway, so the other piece to all of this is what you're going to want to do is search that entire community, see how long that community's been there, search the owner, because what's happening nowadays is there's a lot of different ownerships taking over for these different organizations. So you're going to want to search the owner and actually see how long they've been in business, one, and two, how many senior living communities do they have or do they own and operate? Because you want to make sure that they are experts in this. Back in the day when we had that big mortgage crisis, a lot of investors were buying up a lot of senior living property. And it was mostly in-home care property, rightfully so, but some did get their hands on some senior living communities. And so because senior living is regulated differently, you want to make sure you're researching that information. And it's regulated a lot differently than the nursing homes and hospitals. They're not one and the same. They're different. The regulations are different. So you're going to want to make sure that you are doing your research beforehand, and before going in and being wowed at the beautiful location and the beautiful decorations and all of that, you want to make sure that you do that. Now, here's another twist and turn. When you do get ready to go in and take your tour, keep in mind that a lot of the senior living communities have gotten really smart and when it comes to hospitality. And they've even hired a lot of people from the hotel industry to come in, decorate, and manage their senior living properties, because people like things that are pleasing to the eye and beautiful. But you also want to make sure that pleasing to the eye matches the service that you're going to get. And so doing that research up front is important, because in the end, if you're not satisfied, you only have yourself to blame for not doing the proper research in the beginning. So make sure you're doing the proper research, or you have someone that you actually trust to do that research for you. That's one of my tips. Keep watching. All right, guys, let's talk about the next thing that's very, very important when searching for a senior living community. So the next thing that's really important when searching for a senior living community is the meal plan, of course. So whether you're moving independent living, assisted living, or memory care, you're going to want to research that meal plan to make sure that it lines up with things that you like and you enjoy. Now, what I mean by that is some people are vegan, some people are vegetarian, all of that. So that's a very important part of how you live. So you do want to make sure that the menu lines up. So just like you call that activity director and you ask for that 2 months of the activity schedule, you are also going to do the same thing with the dining room director and ask for their menu. Ask for a couple months, ask for 3 months, ask for 1 month, whatever you need to do to make you feel comfortable. But you need to look at that menu, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and make sure that it lines up with what the foods that you like and you enjoy. Additionally, you're going to want to make sure that those meals are included in that price of that overall stay at that community. Now, if the meals aren't included, you're going to need to know how many meals are and how much each meal is if you choose to get a meal or not. So that's very important. Now, the reason why I say that is because some properties do have meals included. There's no way to separate those out. The meals are what they are, because a lot of times that's a reason why seniors are moving into senior living communities, because they don't have good nutrition at home. They don't cook anymore. They can't cook anymore, whatever. So meals are a part of that package, and there's no way to separate them out. There were times that I had families call me and ask me, could we please separate this meal out? My mom only eats breakfast. She doesn't eat lunch and dinner. But there's no way to do that, and those meals weren't figured in to the overall price. It's just something that's a good thing for us to do for you and for your loved one, because we know that a lot of times seniors aren't getting good nutrition. But in some cases, organizations have gotten really smart and they do separate the meal package out. So for that reason, you're going to make sure you ask that question. Are the meals included? Are they not? If they're not, how many meals do I get a month? And how much is each individual meal if I decide I want additional meals? So make sure you ask that question. Don't just move in because you can get around the meals because your diet is really picky. Don't do that, because you may regret it later. And then you would only have yourself to blame if you do make that decision. So make sure you look at the meal plan. So that's tip number 2. Let's go to tip number 3. Tip number 3, this is near and dear to my heart because I had an uncle who was kind of back and forth on this tip. And what this is choosing whether you're independent or assisted. It's really, really important. Now, let me just say this, because I'm in my 50s, so I get it, that you want to be independent and you don't want help. You don't need help. You're independent. You can do this by yourself. You can do that. But I want you to ask yourself, is it safe to really do those things on your own? Is it safe to mop your floor on your own or sweep your floor on your own? Is it safe to take out your own garbage? Is it safe for you to be in that kitchen cooking? Do you remember to turn the stove off? Because I can tell you, I'm 52 and there are some times that I forgot to turn the stove off and it was a disaster. So think about that. Don't let your dignity stand in the way of what you really need to survive and be healthy, because that could be the end of everything. And I have a story to tell you with this, but before I get into that story, I really want you to do some soul searching and really think about that. Now, if you are a family member of a loved one and you're thinking, no, it's not safe for them, you're going to have that conversation with them, because that happened to me. I felt like, nope, it's not safe. He's assisted living all the way. But when my uncle moved into the community, he changed that assisted living title to independent living. I had him on assisted living because I knew that he wasn't really steady on his feet and he would have frequent falls, and I wanted someone checking in on him. It wasn't that I felt like he needed assistance with everything. I just wanted to ensure that extra eyes, because he lived with me at first and I wasn't going to be there anymore to provide that extra eyesight on certain things that I felt that he needed. Well, he changed it to independent living. And so he didn't have that extra eyesight. They only check on independent living when they come down and eat breakfast. They'll say hi. And if they don't say hi, someone will go find them throughout the day and make sure they're good. But they didn't check on them every hour, every 3 hours, or consistently. And what ended up happening is he had a fall in his apartment. It was a fatal fall that ultimately took his life. If he was assisted living, that would not at all have happened. We would have been able to call the ambulance and get him some help right away, and he would still be here with us today. But he was independent living. Here's the other caveat. The day he was about to change that status to assisted living, he was going to change it back, because I talked to him really good. I was really mad about the fact that he changed it in the first place. But the day that he was going to do that was the day he took that fatal fall. Yep. So I want you to think about that if you're watching this, how important it is to make sure that you have everything you absolutely need. You don't want to make decisions based on pride. You don't want to do that. You want to make decisions based on what you actually need. So think about that. If you're not steady on your feet, if you're not remembering to turn things off, just different things like that, or if you don't have the means to do certain things, don't try. You have to go through different exercises and different therapies to be able to get your strength back up so you can do those things again. Do that first before you decide to put that independent label on yourself. But if you are truly independent, understand what comes along with that, and then be willing to accept that responsibility. All right, so that was tip number 3. Let's go to tip number 4. Okay, guys, let's talk about tip number 4. And that's going to be your healthcare professionals. So your provider, whoever that may be, check out their rounding privileges. See which facilities they they have privileges to go in and out of and see if that is one of the ones that is on your list of places that you are interested in moving. Now, please know this: a lot of providers do not have privileges at a lot of assisted living facilities. They do at nursing homes. So what you're going to want to do is, when you're looking for an assisted living to live long term, find out their affiliation with skilled nursing facilities, hospitals, all of that. What that means to you is, when you're at a facility and an emergency arises and that facility needs to call an ambulance, and when I say facilities, I should say community, and I'm talking about assisted living community. If there was an emergency and that community needed to call the ambulance for you, where would they take you? Okay? What's in close proximity to them? Who do they call? Is it a place that you are familiar with and that you go to and where your healthcare information is? Or is it somewhere all new? So make sure you find that out, because that is very important, because when they call an ambulance and an emergency happens, they can't just pick your favorite hospital. That doesn't happen. So you need to really research that information and find out where you would go in case of an emergency, which ambulance, and also which healthcare providers, as far as skilled nursing facilities, do that hospital have an affiliation with. So after you went to the hospital and you had to stay, and now you need to go into a skilled nursing before you go back home to your assisted living, where would they send you? Where would that particular hospital send you? This happens so often that people will pick an assisted living community, and then an emergency happens, and then they go to the hospital, and it may not be a hospital that's favorable to them. And then from there, they go on to a skilled nursing facility that's also not favorable to them. And then now the entire experience blows up, and it's just not what they expected, and everyone's bad. But I'm here to tell you, it starts on the front end, being proactive and doing your research ahead of time, and looking into these things right away. So if that's not in hospital or an area where your healthcare information is, then you're going to want to move to an area where your hospital is in close proximity. So if something were to happen at that assisted living and they had to call the ambulance, they are calling an ambulance and taking you to a hospital that is already familiar with your care. That's my tip number 4, and that's a biggie, you guys. So keep watching. More video footage coming up. Okay, so now let's get into my not so favorable part of this, because I don't really like talking individually about senior living communities. So first and foremost, what I do want to say is, this video is not sponsored. No senior living community is sponsoring me. I am here for you, the researcher, the family, the people that are looking into places to go and services to use. So that's first and foremost. But I want to talk about a couple of facilities that I have been to, and I will continue to talk about them in my blogs/vlogs for you to be able to watch, so that way you're having this informed decision before you make a decision. So anyway, first and foremost, the place that I visited last week was called Waterford Manor. Now, Waterford Manor is located in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. And I say that with a little hesitation, because that has not always been a favorable area to live to a lot of people. A lot of people associate that particular area with more the poorer side of the community, a place where, because there was a lot of crime usually in that actual area, and people really did not really like that. However, they are stepping up their game, and I just want to make sure I point that out, because they are. And the people that they are hiring, they are really looking into quality. And when I say quality, I'm talking about quality service. Now, there are families that'll disagree. I went in after I toured the facility. I went into their Google page just to look at some information. And what I did notice is there was a lot of Google reviews. There was a few on there that was not favorable. I want to say actually one that really stuck out that wasn't favorable. But as I read it, I already knew this person did not do their research. And this was 4 years ago that person left that Google review. But they didn't do their research. They just looked at the place. Oh, it's so cute. It's pretty. I'm going to put my loved one here. And then they were disappointed all the way around. Rightfully so. All those tips that I told you before, you got to follow those, because if you don't, you are going to be disappointed somewhere down the line, and it's only your doing because you didn't do the proper research, So anyway, make a long story short, I went to this community and toured, and I want to say they renovated, they upgraded. It's beautiful inside and out. Absolutely beautiful. Courtyard, magnificent, beautiful. They have independent assisted living and memory care, and I'm not going to get into a sales pitch about them because they have their own salespeople there, and I don't work there, so I don't know. So you have to go and visit for yourself. But I'm just going to tell you what I've seen. So first and foremost, we were able to sit down and have a wonderful meal and just learn a little bit more about the community. I want to back up and say the meal was superb, and let me tell you why it was superb. The person that's the chef in the kitchen, I have known for years. Her name is Susan, and she is their lead chef. And she has worked in the industry just like me for 20-something odd years. So she knows what families really want and need. With that being said, she really takes pride in her food and the way she cooks it. She takes her time in making the food and putting everything together. And that is really key. That's really important, because taste is everything, especially if you're living in independent living or assisted living. She does it all. And her servers they go the extra mile. If they see your water getting low, they'll top it off. Your coffee, they'll give you more, all of that. They're there, they're at your service. And I absolutely love that. She even came out and I had to give her a big hug because the food was magnificent. So if you decide to tour this location, tour around lunchtime and ask if you can have a meal. That's my recommendation. So anyway, that is first and foremost the food, and then the sales department. So the lady that's running the sales department, her name is Carrie, and I've worked with Carrie for years. Her and I worked hand in hand in sales years ago, and she is just genuine. So that's what I want to say. The people at this community is genuine, and for me, that goes a long way because they truly care, not just about getting a sale and having people move in, but they care about you as an individual. And that goes a long way for a lot of people, at least for me. I can look past a lot of things, but I can't look past rude service. And you will not get that here at this location. You will get the utmost respect and the most wonderful service that you have ever had, and fantastic meals, by the way. So I want to show you a couple things that they left us with when we left from that wonderful presentation that they gave. And this was a nice little basket that they included. And I just thought this was just lovely. I love the way they put it together, and I love being able to take one home. And it made that experience all the worthwhile. Mind you, I had to drive way from St. Cloud to Brooklyn Park to this meeting, and it was worth it, especially after meeting all the people that I met there that day. So, thumbs up. I give them 5 stars, hands down. Okay, guys, so I'm going to end my little talk here today on that note because I have a lot more information about senior living communities for you, but that's going to come in subsequent videos. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, I recommend that you do so. Tell all your friends, especially those that are out searching for senior livings for themselves or for a loved one. This is the channel for you because I am truly here for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask that. But look in the description box. I have some more elaborate information you can jot down and write down. And then we're going to make this a working session. So my next video is going to be great. Make sure you're watching. Thanks for watching.